Good evening, music multiverse travelers. Tonight we have the second in a long series of Beyond Live. Beyond Live is where one of our contributors go out and hear some beautiful music live and then come back and recreate it for all you in listening land. So tonight, Mr. Mark, our creator of Beyond the Radio, will be giving his reactions to a band called Clutch. He went and saw it a couple weeks ago, and now he's here to reveal all his musical experiences. Mark, take it away.
All right. So why did I come to this? So first of all, I have basically every Clutch record. They're pretty much a hard rock blues band that's been around for over 20 years. The venue was the Rapids Theater in Niagara Falls, which is basically an old school, theater that would host plays, and in the recent future, they would have done movies and stuff like that. But it's been renovated, has a bar right down the center. And then they took all the seats out, and basically it's a sloped floor with the stage ready for action, very high ceilings. It's an old school establishment, but unique and beautiful inside to some degree, although it's tattered and worn over the years. So what drew me to the show? I've never seen Clutch. I've heard countless things on the internet, YouTube. I've seen live shows through YouTube that are at the Download Festival and stuff. And I was always captivated by this band that had this hard rock blues sense, but these odd lyrics that are basically science fiction references and science fiction stories. So they don't take themselves too serious, but the actual music itself and the way it hits, and the vocalist himself, who's quite charismatic, does have that serious tone to it. And the band basically drives it home. That's pretty much what I was expecting. However, what transpired was something a little bit different that I came to appreciate. So beforehand, I realized that there were two opening acts. This kind of happens these days where you sit there and you go, how much time am I willing to spend? Now, let's go back to the past. The music industry, record companies, bands would be headlining acts. The opening acts were never, ever, ever controlled by the band. Well, there may be certain circumstances where they had a say in it, maybe in their contract. But usually the artists that open, or artists, bands, were chosen by the record company because they wanted to give exposure to bands that were on the label. It's a perfect way to get them exposure, especially against a band that was popular enough to draw a large crowd. This is not the instance with Clutch. Clutch believes in the art of the opening band, the art of the opening act. Why do I say this? Because of all the shows I've gone to over the years, and I normally go for the opening act anyway, it seemed like all the bands are always in line with each other. So the record label says, okay, it's Van Halen. Well, we'll put Alice in Chains. That's a rock band. We'll put them in front of it. Clutch, however, does not do these things. Clutch says, how can I get an interesting opening act that plays along with what we're going to be, but isn't the same as us, and might draw their own crowd, or might be interesting enough to really open the show? So here's what happens. The show is going to be opened by two bands, one an artist, one a band. The opening act is Nate Bergman. The second act is Amigo the Devil. I've never heard of either one. So what do I do before the show? I decide, because I'm about 3 hours before the show, I'll listen to Amigo the Devil. When I listen to it, this is like vaudeville meets rock. He's playing a banjo. It's Sturgill Simpson type rockabilly lyrics that are out there ridiculously crazy, like I hope your husband dies, and it's crazy stuff. But he's got, it's charismatic, and I'm like, God, I call my buddies. I go, I think we better go to the show early. And they're like, we were getting the same feeling too. So we got there early. So we're talking. It's obviously a ton of people are packing in this place, and Clutch isn't going to go on for 2 hours. I'm starting to realize why. Most of the people that are in the venue already have an idea what's going to happen. Nate Bergman takes the stage while we don't even know it, because he walks up silently, the lights go out, and he's standing there. And then he belts out a cappella, a rock ballad with this just fantastic voice. He's like a 30-something mustache guy. It's totally unassuming, but ridiculous in vocal talent. And then obviously, he has your attention at the beginning. He has the whole crowd's attention. There's no more talking going on. Everybody's like, oh, here we go. And he goes into some blues, rock, country with his vocal charismaticness that really flows with the entire show. So he thanks us. He says, I'll be over there selling CDs. Please buy some so I can have a pizza tonight. Then, and I go over there, of course, sucker. And I make sure he gets a pizza. And I introduce myself, and we start a little friendship. Hopefully he'll see this video. He's already replied to us on Facebook because I've listened to his album and put it up on our album for today. So in comes Amigo the Devil. Now, this is a point that I want to make. The crowd is waiting for Amigo the Devil as much as they are sort of, bombastically waiting for Clutch. When Amigo the Devil takes the stage, the lead, he knows what's going on. And when he walks out there, he goes, wait a minute. I know you. Hey, I saw you last night. What the hell's going on? You people just following around? And he says, normally we start the show about here. And then eventually we got to bring it up here. Because I got this feeling tonight we're going to have to start here because most of you have seen me before. So when they start, it's just crazy. Like I said, it's a vaudeville rock extravaganza. It doesn't fit in the line of Clutch. But I got to say, the album itself, listening to that, was very vaudeville, was very folk and rock combinations with the kooky lyrics that he has. He does not have that deep or dark a voice or anything, but he just has a dark persona to what he does and the lyrics that he writes. But it was heavier in concert. There was no question. It was much, much heavier than it was driven. He did make a shout out to Nate Bergman, which I thought was hilarious. He says, I want to thank Nate Bergman for opening the show and making me realize that my voice really sucks. And he goes, I try to sing like him. I'm in the shower and I'm choking on my own spit. He says, and then, of course, Clutch comes on and your ears are gone. The show has begun. And they got about an hour and 50 some minutes of them just bringing it home. So with that, I can go into band information. I already did about Clutch. They're from Maryland. Jeff, you didn't want to take any of this, did you? No.
Oh, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
While you're out there, how are the acoustics where you are?
This is a great venue for a show. Yeah, it's got the high ceilings. It's made for shows like this. I think at some points, a little bit too loud. You've been there before where the bass is just too much. We could hear it coming through the floor. I mean, and they did tone it down as it went on as the show. I actually took some pictures of they got one of those, the computers, right? They just lift up out of a case. They're beautiful. I mean, what Clutch has for an assembly.
So, and the second question, so of these three bands, can you tell our listeners out there what one you really suggest they go see?
Yeah, if you haven't seen Clutch, obviously I would go. I would tell anybody to go who likes hard blues rock. If you're into the Rollins band, and other like persona bands that have that, when you go to see them, I already know who you're going to see. So if you go on this tour, you're going to see Amigo the Devil and you're going to see Nate Bergman. So you're getting 3 acts for this, $30 I spent? That's fantastic, right? I mean, usually you're spending 80, 90, 150 bucks to see bands these days.
What about the first opening acts? If they were by themselves, would you suggest somebody go see them?
Yes, Nate Bergman is would be fantastic in a small club because he's got all that bravado and everything that's necessary to carry a lick.
Is he solo?
Yeah, yeah, he's got, he has a drummer with him, bass guitarist, and that's generally it. The Amigo the Devil, they're a full ensemble. It's drums, bass, keyboard, and drums, bass, keyboard. There was somebody else too. I can't remember what they were smashing or bringing. There was something else in there. Oh, just another rhythm guitar. So, and of course, when he brings out a banjo and he's doing his lyrical craziness, the guy and the fans are singing along with it. They already know it, and you get into it too. If you're gonna go and check anything out to see how crazy this band is, look up the song Bingo. It's crazy. He's just talking about a bingo hall, and everyone's hyped. He's the guy. He wants to win, and he's looking around the room, and he's like, "Let's see who's the badass in the room." And he finds out, "Oh, wait a minute, it's me. I'm the threat. I'm the he's the shit." So it's pretty funny. It's a fantastic show. So the studio albums for Clutch, there are a boatload. I won't go through them all, but you're talking about at least 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12 albums now. Some of them a bit live, but their newest release, Sunrise on Slaughter Beach, is considered right now the best in their wheelhouse. I would argue that. I honestly think that's a very hard catalog to find out which one's the best. If we had to do an album review show, I'd have a very hard time putting 1, 2, 3. I mean, they're ones that I don't like as much, but I mean, they've been around a long time. So on Amigo the Devil, or let's go with Nate Bergman, I guess. Nate's blues country rock. He actually founded a band he's fronted called Lion Eyes for many years. That's kind of how he met Clutch. He's been around with talents like the Wallflowers, Blackberry Smoke, My Chemical Romance, Thursday. He himself, Nate, fronted the band Lee Scratch Perry. So while we're all stunned, maybe we should not have been so much stunned because he's been a professional for quite some time. He's got one studio album under his solo act. It's called Metaphysical Change, which came out this year. The live album you can buy. I did. It's the exact performance, start to finish, that you see. As for Amigo the Devil, which is Danny Caranos, they first studio album was in 2015 called Volume 1. I don't have that one. Everything is Fine in October 19th of 2020. Don't have that one, but I do have Born Against from 2021. Now, Born Against, it's hilarious because he's saying born again, born against. Everything he does is kind of so that's Clutch and the art of the opening act, and how much I enjoyed that. And I think anybody and everybody should go. They're on tour right now. They'll be on tour for quite some time. They love the tour.
They need the pizza money.
So true. So
anyway, guys, this is a wrap for this one. We want to thank Mark and his musical expertise, and we're glad he enjoyed the show. And stay tuned soon because we'll be having another Beyond Live soon.
Thank you all. Visit us on www.beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like, subscribe. Everything's going on now. Happy listening.